Hi everyone, this is Frequency Bones from a Music Connection 9, Video 4. And so I've been thinking about what to speak about today. And this series, as you know, is about authenticity and that the fact it is a custom job and the fact that we were all born unique. But we don't always stay true to other things in ourselves. And sometimes, for example, take students. Like any serious student, they want to listen to their teacher, and they want to do what the teacher says, and they want approval from the teacher, yes? And there might become a time in that student's life where they really start getting a lot of their own ideas. Sometimes people are conflicted whether their ideas are right or not. Am I doing it right? I think that's a genuine, authentic concern. What can happen down the road is someone might be exposed to another teacher, another performer, and let's say they get together with that person and have a lesson, and that person, this new person, is saying things that really rub up against what they've been taught. And the student goes, "Really? You breathe through your nose? I was always taught to, just take as big a breath as you can." This happened to me. When I went to John Swallow, after studying with Stephen Zelmer in the Minnesota Orchestra, and before that I studied with Ronald Ricketts, who one of his teachers was Reinhardt, and so was John Swallow's. So they were a little more serious, similar in a certain kind of way than Stephen Zelmer, who was right out of the Chicago Arnold Jacobs, Kleinhammer, Crisafulli school. Even though they, had their differences for sure. There was a certain similarity and agreement with wind and tone and playing the mouthpiece and things like this. And so when he was saying, John Swallow, when he was saying, you don't always have to take the biggest breath in the world. And I thought about this for a long time. You don't. You can pick up your horn and go, and sound like a dog squeaking. Like a chihuahua or something that was. But the point is to go, I don't need a lot of air. At all. In fact, taking a big breath for me during that time would back it up. Not that I have control over not getting too tight when I take too much air, but it doesn't feel as natural as just the amount, or maybe a little bit more, than what is actually needed. Violinists use the amount of bow that they need. If they have to go plink, they don't go blink. So that was a very, very different thing. He didn't really necessarily believe in playing the mouthpiece that much. And so when people come to me and I suggest, think of more taking what's needed in your ear, and maybe a little bit more. Depending on the passage, maybe quite a bit more, but sometimes you don't need that much. They're very shocked Because remember on the last video we were talking about the overlay system? Their habit life, their training, their teaching, their conditioning, their practicing has created a very hardened habit that isn't necessarily easy to break. And if they think of getting a tone that just isn't the fattest and richest and fullest they possibly can at any minute, something is wrong as well. But why can violinists do so many different things and not always have the exact same tone? I've heard some that stay pretty close to the exact same tone, but then I've heard others that really have a very big variety. And just not in the articulation, but in the actual sound. Now, it's more accepted that violins are going to have really a variety of sounds. But brass can have more than we think, and it depends on how far you want to stretch that. Maybe certain orchestral things, the sound differences will be a little more subtle, but they can still be there. Okay? Yeah. So what does this have to do with authenticity? Well, it started with, in this example I'm bringing up, the person's genuine desire to want to do it right and to please the teacher. Okay? And all of a sudden, the student goes someplace else, introduce different kinds of exposure, right? And they think, wow, I didn't know it could be done like that, or is that good? Because they were so conditioned, depending on how influential that conditioning was and how demanding it was. It can be very difficult to break. Should it be broken? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But what about expansion of abilities? And then people have to adjust their embouchures and breathing techniques to do different things. But that's part of it, isn't it? So the authentic desire, after wanting to please the teacher, should be encouraged to naturally evolve to realizing there's a variety of ways to play. Something's working for you, fine. If you come up against quite a few things you can't do because of the system that you're playing with, that's going to be up to you to want to maybe look into why that is. So the genuine need to want to improve and expand one's artistic abilities, depending on what's really moving through them. Some people go beyond. I know I got caught in about 3 different thoughts right there. But some people want to go beyond whether other people are approving of what they're doing. They want to find what the art is for them. And for certain people, that can get very strong. That can get stronger than just walking down a well-known road, let's say, of classical or jazz. They go, wow, I don't care if I'm in an orchestra. They hit a realization about themselves because that might have been a concept that they thought they had to keep doing. This is the way, and you'll go here and you'll end up there. Then all of a sudden, things happen. They're going, wait a minute. I don't know about that. So how can we keep our love of the music and different, maybe our own yearnings? And if you're having a lot of yearnings, that might mean that real, genuine, authentic you at a very deep level, probably could be at the level of the soul or more, wants to find its way of expression. And it really can't take the confinement of just a conditioned set of methodologies with a direction in mind. Like I've said before, a lot of times teaching is geared to particular employment, whether there's a great freelancer in the classical realms, which could be playing in symphony orchestras, ballet orchestras, opera orchestras, chamber music of many different kinds, or a jazz player. Okay, I'm going to try to do this, this, and this, and this. And then a person gets really drawn into one and just wants to just be that one because they have such an identification at a deep level that even goes beyond their ego. Yes, beyond the ego recognition. So dropping ego recognition is huge. Not many people can do it. But to stand up and be who you are because you really want to. In fact, it gets so compelling, you cannot not do it. That can be a very deep, authentic urge. It was authentic at me, and one time I had to be in an orchestra. I had to play Mahler, I had to play Bruckner, I had to play Berlioz, I had to play Ruslan and Ludmilla, which was my favorite piece when I was 12. I had to play the William Tell Overture, Dvorak, New World. I had to play those great classics. That was really strong in me. Strong. I mean, strong. But I didn't necessarily want to do it like a lot of the way people were talking about it. I never thought of them as excerpts. So when, for example, this keeping a journal stuff, you can start to look at it. You know, go back and look at things you've written in a journal. If you do that, you go, oh, where was that coming from? I guess I can see where I was being influenced at that point in my life. And then you can look down a few months or years and go, boy, that's changed. A few more thoughts on authenticity. Have you ever met a person who you could feel their self-chosen life very strongly, and it was real and authentic in them? So, it's time for meditative longing. See what the uniqueness of this day is. This day has never appeared before. Ever. Not exactly like this. So I can't play it exactly the same. Just to get some of this volume. I don't have my regular microphone here, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to sound.